Hi, we're the Joneses, Jill and Kevin, and we're from Salt Lake City, Utah. We've just been asked to, tell our story, and just kind of let you guys know about what happened and how I've been able to heal and kind of the journey along the way and how we got there. About 2 years ago, almost exactly, I was diagnosed with some weird form of pneumonia. I wasn't feeling well and took a couple weeks for me to even get into the doctor because I'm just not that type of person. I thought I was a pretty healthy person before all this happened, always trying to find right things to eat, and I'd work out a couple times a week and really wanted nothing to do with going to the doctor. I was always worried about everyone else's health and trying to feed people and juice and things like that. And I wasn't feeling well to the point it was chronic. It was a couple weeks. I had sinus drainage and stuff. So I was like, fine, I'll go in. And they go in and they put me on some antibiotics and do some tests and things, and then call me like a week later and they're telling me you have this Klebsiella pneumonia, which is this, I guess, rare strand of pneumonia that goes down more into your intestinal tract and things like that. And so they had put me on some pretty heavy duty long-term antibiotics for about a month before they could kick it and figure it out. And I took that and I started feeling a little better, for the worse. So I would say, what was it, about a week after the antibiotics, just strange things started happening every day, like really bad headaches to the point I couldn't even want to go out or anything. Feeling like I was going to pass out, a lot of problems eventually with breathing, like asthma, and my throat swelling up and even burning to the point where the symptoms I was having and things, they had me get a stomach scope because they were worried I had like esophagitis or even potentially stomach cancer they were trying to rule out. And they did the scope, they found nothing. Just doctors had nothing for me.
Yeah, we went to 19 different doctors in 3 weeks, and were hospital visits, and
one or the other specialists.
We had allergists, and three of them told us it was a ghost allergy, and that it was all made up in her head. And
one of my dad's really good friends, he said, you need to talk to him, he's an allergist. And I told him what's going on, and he said, there's nothing wrong with her. And sometimes people get these like ghost allergies where they think something's wrong with them, but it's not. And really, we need to treat it like, basically they were calling me crazy. They told me I need to be like on Xanax and some things like that to try to control what was going on. And that was the point. I just felt helpless. I had like these really educated doctors and things just tell me, you're nuts, nothing's wrong. And then one day I was at home and I called my dad. I really felt like I was going to just have a seizure or something. Like it was crazy. Everything was going blacked out and I was like shaking and I could feel my throat closing up, and I was eliminating things daily, like what I was eating and stuff, because I was starting to catch on. It might be something like that. So I really had no calories. I was really weak, and I just called my parents and I said, I can't do this anymore. I need you to come help me, because I had a 2-year-old and she's running around and I don't feel good enough to even get out of bed. And so they come down, they stopped everything they're doing. They come down and they were with me, and my dad was the one that said, we need to get you to the hospital. And he literally like held me to the car and took me to the hospital because he could see it was a problem. And, he went in there and said, this is it. We need answers. We're not leaving until something's, if we have to take her to the downtown hospital, whatever we have to do, we are not leaving until we get answers. And, the people were kind of looking at us like he's crazy, and they're running all these tests and everything, and they come back with nothing. They thought I was a little dehydrated, and so they thought that would make me feel better, and they put me on like saline, and they just said for allergies and stuff, we'll give you steroids. So they put me on some strong steroids, and I had an inhaler and things like that. And, they helped a little bit suppress what was going on, but I just didn't feel good. I was on all these steroids. I was still having major digestive issues. My weight, I was like, believe it or not, like 15 pounds lighter, in not a good way. And just, digestive. I couldn't eat. I couldn't breathe. I was just, everything was ruined. Like my business, I sell houses for a living, and he's, I help run his business. He does construction. He's out all the time. And I mean, what was it like? You were an hour away finishing a basement, and you couldn't get a hold of me for some reason.
Yeah, I just had to leave the job site to come home and see if I can see if she was okay. I lived through that fear every day of waking up, wondering if she was going to be okay when I woke up. And every time I'd leave to a job site, if I couldn't get a hold of her on the phone, I was always scared of what I was going to come home to, especially with my 2-year-old.
Yeah, I'd call him every day and be like, I'm not doing good, just shaking. And I think I can make it till you get home, I hope. I think I can make it. And he says, well, if not, where the hospital's at. And I think I went like 3 times and got shot. They'd give me a shot. Like, it was just routine. My poor little girl had to sit there and watch it because I don't have anyone to help with her. So I just bring her in, they give me a shot, and mommy go home. And it was just awful. It was like everything. I was always a motivated person and always busy with my work. And, I thought I had this cute family, and I just could not function anymore. And finally, there was a ray of hope. He called me really excited. There was a guy he worked with, Steve, his really good friend.
Yeah, a guy I work with who been listening to the Robert Scott Bell show and told me about this doctor in Nampa, Idaho named Dr. Newsome, and told us we needed to come down and see him. He thought he could help us a lot.
And up until this point, this was the friend that would always give him some radical health ideas and things, and we would say, oh, I don't know about that, or maybe,
He was the health nut.
Yeah. And I was like, he would tell me, oh, he says that Splenda is bad for you. And I'm like, whatever nonsense. I don't want to hear about it because I don't want to give up my Diet Coke and, things like that. I thought I was healthy, but it was more like salad and Diet Coke healthy. I was very oblivious to like different chemicals and things that were in our home, and I was putting in my body daily, let alone antibiotics and things. But I was desperate. I was beyond desperate. We had called, my last hope was like called down to the University of Utah. They had a toxicologist specialist that I had found on my own, that I had called, and they were willing to see me, but it was like a month wait, and they still weren't sure why I wanted to be there. Our regular doctor wouldn't refer me. They specialize in helping patients that like OD'd on drugs and things like that, and they weren't sure why this lady just thought for some reason she was toxic and needed to see a toxicologist. But doing research on my own, I had come to the conclusion that I had, I was poisoned with medicine and things, and my body wasn't processing. And it's complicated, but we finally figured out that I have I'm going to slaughter the word because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but a salicylic allergy, which is aspirin to most people, but it's also in our food, and it's in about everything. In fact, it was easier to have a list on my fridge of what I could eat than what I couldn't eat. And at this point, when we left to go to Boise, I was down to 5 foods that I could process and I could eat and not have symptoms. And it was like things like organic celery, organic chicken with no seasonings, some sea salt, boiled potato, pear without the skin, all organic, and some like oats. And so I had completely made a diet around these things and was surviving off these items, coming to see Dr. Newsome's desperate to see why I could only process these foods and why other doctors could not help me. And I was very skeptical, of even seeing Dr. Newsome's. I remember calling for the appointment because every doctor I had talked to, allergists, these are very educated, specialized people, were not even familiar with what a salicite was or why I would be allergic to it. They were familiar with dairy and all those things, but they had no sense of what that even was. And I talked to Dr. Newsome's, not nurse, but assistant on the phone and said, does he know, before we come all the way down there, does he know what this is? And she goes off into a room and talks to him. She comes back and she says, yes, he's very familiar with it and he can help you. And he's very good with allergies. And I just felt this sense of relief, like we need to go now. And literally didn't you take off like the next day?
Yeah, we went the next day.
It was it was like day after Thanksgiving. Because I remember Thanksgiving was rough. All I could eat was celery. So I remember the first thing I told Kevin, and now I'm embarrassed to even say this because I don't want Dr. Newsome to think I don't value him because I trust him with my own daughter and everything. But I said, if we're going to go see one of those kind of doctors, there's no way I'm like taking blood or anything. Like he can look at me and stuff, but that's weird. Like I don't want to do anything like that. And I walked in, he was so professional and everything was so clean. And he just took a little tiny prick. And having been to the hospital and these specialists so many times, you like know the routine. And I was blown away at how much information and how much he knew off of one tiny prick so fast. Versus going to these hospitals, they take quarts of blood and they weeks and months to get answers and nothing. I just was floored. I was like all respect and everything. And then so for him to be able to tell me, your stomach does have a hole in it. And why can these other doctors not see this? I don't understand. They scoped my stomach, and to understand that this is not even something they'll recognize and I can help you, and you are toxic. You're not crazy. You need to detoxify. And this is a very real thing. And, and weren't you just floored at how professional and how...
I was shocked and...
normal, everything was
explained things and had more common sense than any of the other doctors that we talked to.
I think we took up like 2 hours of his time seeing me that day. I felt so bad, but I had like my little list of every question I had and, why can I not have these foods? And he was able to help me say, okay, first we need to just stabilize you. I had a blood infection and things he had to clear up, and let's just get you stabilized and then we can work on new treatments. And it was a miracle. Just day one, I was able to walk away with a peace of mind and a knowledge of what was going on, why it was going on, and what we were going to do to fix it. And this hope, this ray of hope, like I'm going to be okay. And I don't have cancer or anything crazy. And this is actually quite normal. And a lot of people, I might have it on the extreme, but a lot of people have toxic issues or allergies and things. And I know we were scared about the supplements.
And we were nervous to try anything new.
I couldn't even have like organic tomato.
Anything.
Yeah. It was down, like I said, to the list of what I was reacting to or not. My immune was so shot that I literally couldn't eat. And so he had, all these supplements and things. And we were like, I want to take them because I want to feel better. But, we're driving 6 hours without a hospital. We're coming all the way from Utah to see him because, that was where we were at the time. And so, we waited until we got home and I was terrified. And the first day, literally, of taking his regimen, which was seriously a few simple things, I just felt some stability. Obviously it took months and months to get to the point where I was digesting better and things, but the first week, like asthma, gone. And to find out these medicines they were giving me, like the inhaler had psilocybin in it. The steroids were making my stomach condition worse, like killing the probiotics and killing the stomach lining, and these are the things the hospital is giving me. And some simple probiotics he put me on and some detoxing agents and even some, some natural antibiotic type things to get rid of the infections to start with. And I felt so much better. And it was seriously like, how long do you think before I could try a couple new foods?
Within a week, you started trying
new
things.
It was simple, like it was carrots and then an apple and things like that. I really had to build, but today I'm to the point, I still suffer from sensitivities and I have to be mindful and I have to take good care of myself. I can't just binge drink or something crazy, or I think I'd probably be right back there, but I could enjoy a glass of like organic wine, some organic coffee, and I can eat most everything. I still struggle. I can't have aspirins or anything like that, but I don't want anything like that in my body like ever again, so I don't care. But my processing and, I've gained weight and my coloring and just asthma and everything like that, like all of these symptoms, it's just like a whole new world, and it has completely changed my life. Even my own mother called me and was like, honestly, I didn't want to scare you at the time, but I didn't think you were going to be with us. Like, you were that bad. It was scaring me. Like, we were praying for you, and we've got you on the prayer roll or whatever, because that's how bad it really was, like that, like overnight. And I just feel bad. I run into people and we talk about it all the time with similar things and problems, and they're just trying to cure them over here with these doctors, and they are stuck. We try to tell people, but they just don't want to listen. So that's why we're trying to share our story, and hopefully this help, somebody can listen, because I know it is scary when you're sick and you're very particular about who you want to go see and doctors and things like that. But there's no way I would be as healthy and happy and being able to even do anything right now if I didn't come see Dr. Newsome. So just on a side note, I even saw a couple different, getting my mind more open to the natural and things like that. We saw a couple different people in Salt Lake that were like chiropractic and things like that, and the quality still was, and they had ideas, and they had, it was nice to talk to somebody, but on a different page, but they were pushing protein shakes and, another person's brand, and they were not even close to the care and the simplicity and the knowledge and the education that you're going to get by working with somebody like Dr. Newsome. So I don't know, I trust him with my life. So
that's why we're here.
And we've been able to, get my husband seen, and even my son, and we brought his mother up, and everybody sees, everyone that's close to us sees night and day how different I was, and they want to know for themselves, and they want to, they get it. These people that are staunch, like very, very close-minded people that were like believers, because they see my story, and they saw me, and they saw me get better, and they get it, and so I just feel so fortunate that we were able to be seen by Dr. Newsome's and continue to see him. And I don't think even if I never had a problem again, I think we'd still see him just for general health, and just he's amazing. So